Hello and welcome to the newest episode of Show Me Your Diamond podcast and YouTube channel. I'm Giulia Castelli, your host, also a diamond huntress, queen of diamonds, and RTT therapist, which means rapid transformational therapist, and a hypnotherapist. I work with diamonds in the outer material world and I hunt for them for very special people. But I also help people uncover their inner diamonds. I help them through my mentoring, coaching, and therapy to uncover, to polish, and let that inner diamond shine into the world. And when I meet people who actually appreciate both the inner and outer diamonds, my antenna goes like, I need to meet this person, I need to speak to this person, I need to invite them to the podcast. So my newest diamond is Alan Keith, a jewelry connoisseur, a very elegant gentleman. And today we speak mostly jewelry. So Alan, can you tell me, is there a different way you would like to present yourself, or tell our viewers and listeners a little bit more about yourself, and then maybe how your love of jewelry started?
Okay, sure. Well, I was born in a small little bitty town in Texas, and I was very isolated, but I always wanted to get out into the world. I wanted to see things and do things, and I fell in love with classic movies, with Joan Crawford and Betty Davis, and they were very glamorous women, and I wanted to be a glamorous woman. Who knew I was a man, but what are you going to do? So I didn't know much about that part yet. But so as I got older and understood what it took to get the glamour, I just started looking for it. And there was also a very important movie to me. It's called Anti-May. And there was the lead character's name, Dennis Burnside, and she was this out of this world, eccentric, very glamorous woman. And I saw that movie at a very young age, like 14, and I was like, I want to be her. I want to be just like that. Because she was worldly, well-traveled, had a group of very cool friends, and had a ton of jewelry. So that kind of started my road on finding where my diamond was going to come from. And so I just started, did some low-end jobs waiting tables, and then I went to college for a while, and then I was in the right place at the right time and met my boss now, Marianne Thompson-Frank, and she heads up the Mendelssohn Institute, and I became her personal assistant. And what happened? Well, I suddenly am traveling the world, staying in the best hotels, and being able to collect real jewelry. And I've done that for the past 20 years. So I have a rather large collection, and this lovely lady saw it, and she's like, well, can you tell me?
Yes,
like,
please
sure,
tell me. And I
not?
just lowered the camera because I actually wanted, when you beautifully talk and gesticulate, there's so much beauty on your fingers, on your wrist. So I wanted people to see that. There's a lot of bling, but I'm sure there's not only beautiful stones, gems, diamonds, but I somehow sense you're deeper than that, and maybe you care about the deeper and the more spiritual meaning of jewelry, because there's so much in it. So first of all, show me your diamond, and then let's go deeper.
Well, darling, there they are.
Oh my God!
There's just a few.
Just a few on
Yeah.
each hand.
But when I first started out, I was very shy and scared of everything. And then I also have mental health issues, and they were very hard to deal with. I have PTSD and panic disorder and depression. So to wrap all that together, I was kind of a bundle of nerves for a long time, and I used drugs and alcohol to help me through that, because it calmed me down and things like that. And as I got older, I went into Alcoholics Anonymous, and I got sober, and I've been sober for 27 years now.
Congratulations.
And so the first thing that I did with all of my jewelry before it was imitation. It was just costume jewelry, which was fine with me. And then I finally got on my own and got my job, and then I got this one was my first real piece that I ever bought with my own money. And I treasure it. It's also my engagement ring, so that's good too. But there was a time that I used all of this as a block. Because you saw all of this first, and then by the time you got to me, this scared little depressed person, I was like, okay, they seen all this, and I'm like, hi, how you doing? So nice to meet you. And then I was out. I would leave so fast.
So this was your shield?
Yeah, it was my shield. It was my facade, is what it was. And then as I got deeper into my sobriety and a lot of bad things in my past, I was molested and raped as a child, and was ignored quite a bit, and emotional abuse and all those kinds of things. And I got into a really good therapist, and we started working on it, and we started pulling it apart, and it finally came time that I had a choice. I could actually really do what they're asking me to do in therapy, because you know that some people, well, why don't you go and write 3 words on a page? And I would say, no, I'm not going to do it. But then I thought, well, I'm paying this guy. He wants me to write 3 words on a page. So I'm
How hard can it be, right?
I'm never going to learn anything. I'm never going to get better. So I finally invested, and I said, okay, here are your 3 words. And then it got better, and as I got better, my shine started to happen. My heart started to open. And then working with Marianne and the Institute, we help people. And that was something I always wanted to do as a child, is I wanted to help people and make the world a better place. And I'd tell my parents, I'm going to change the world. I'm like, yeah. How are you going to do that? I was like, I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out.
Amazing.
And so once I learned to do that, and just the art of helping somebody, even if it's you give the homeless guy on the street $1, well, you've done something for someone. And then there's that little bit of feeling of, wow, that felt good. That felt pretty good. And then you build on that. And then the next thing you know, you're opening a door for somebody and letting them go first instead of you going first. And that makes you feel good too. And you hold on to that goodness, and then you just build on that. But sometimes the hard part was, with depression and anxiety, talking yourself into doing something that will help you can be very difficult, because you're in that space of, I can't even get out of bed. How am I supposed to go help someone? But you learn over time, and with the right meds and the right therapist and a few programs, and you really pay attention to it, because it will change your life. Then that's when you really do start to shine. And anybody can do it, but it's hard to say I have a mental illness.
It's hard.
Because in a way, you would never guess it. No one ever think that I've got everything you could possibly want. How can you have a mental illness? And sometimes I think it's categorized, because a lot of people think of mental illness as if you're locked in an institution and you're out of your mind and you can't think or talk. And sometimes they get clumped together, because there is a difference. There are people that need to be institutionalized, and they do need that kind of help. And then there's me with PTSD and anxiety and depression disorder, but I've learned how to deal with it on the outside. But I guess the one thing that hit me when I was in therapy probably a year ago is I kept doing the work, and I kept waiting for it to be done. I kept going, when is it over? When am I healed? When am I healed? When am I healed? And my doctor basically said, well, you don't really get
a certificate.
You can't get
being healed and ready to go back into real life. No.
Yeah, you don't get one, and that really, I was depressed for a few days after that. But then I realized when he finally mapped out, it's a journey. You go out and the journey gets bigger. And once you go on that journey, I have discovered that, you have the film going on in your mind of all the trauma that was done to you. And it gets quieter, it gets softer, and you learn how to tame it. And that's when you start to get better. But my wish was that it would never come back. Well, that's not going to happen. So you have to settle with that too. But then you find your passions in life. Mine was jewelry for a long time. I started collecting and I ran around the world, and helping people is a big cornerstone of that. And then also forgiveness too. You have to forgive the people in your past, but then you got to forgive yourself too for perpetuating what was happening to you, that it's always happening and it's all their fault. And it's your problem, and you caused me to do this, and because you didn't send me to the right college, it's your fault. Well, I had to put that down, because I realized I was holding myself down because I was playing the blame game and blaming everybody else, when it turns out basically I'm an adult now. And it's my responsibility for where I go and what I do and the message that I leave. So once I learned that lesson, I actually got lighter. I felt a lot lighter, and it was like, I feel a lot better.
So you went from living in a victim mode to being in a victor mode. And how did this feel? Did you instantly feel the change once you made the decision? Because I think we live in that blame mode, feeling, poor me mode, and then one day we get enough. We reach the bottom, we say, no, this is not going on. And we take the decision, and we take charge of our lives.
Yeah. And, well, the first thing I had to realize is that I was in victim mode. I didn't have any idea. Even when the therapist was telling me, you're in victim mode, I'm like, I don't really know what you're talking about. So I can be, you almost have to draw me a picture sometimes. And he said, well, okay, your mother did this to you 25 years ago, and you're still thinking about it today as if it happened right now. And you're blaming her. That's why you're in victim mode. And that woke me up a little bit. I was like, oh. So I'm still playing the blame game. And then after the light did come on. And it took a couple of days to feel a little better, because when I finally stopped blaming my mother for my circumstances, I was like, wait a minute, gosh, this does feel good. I got to put her down and let her do her thing. She wasn't taking up the space in my head anymore. And when you free up the space in your mind, that's when you get to take control. And you can go, well, instead of, because I would sit in my bed for 2 hours and just go on and on about what everybody had done to me. And then I thought, well, I have an extra 2 hours in my day now. And I went out and helped somebody, or I made my bed, or, told my husband I loved him. And I never got to do that before.
You were too focused on feeling sorry for yourself.
That's
and
it.
Many people live in this. And this negativity affects them the most, and they don't understand that this is actually what is making them sick.
Right.
And part of the reason why I started this podcast, I have many reasons to do the podcast and the YouTube channel, and I love that we do it for the visuals, for people who want to see the person and see the jewels and see the diamond, but also for people who want to hear it, they could just imagine, and that's another art. But a couple of the reasons. One, because I know too many amazing people, and I feel I need to share them with the world. And I keep meeting them every day, and now I can relate to so many of the things you said. I have dealt with depression, with anxiety. I have been molested. So I have gone through divorce. I have started from scratch. I did feel when I had no money at all. So now I know better. Like me bringing people who have gone through challenges, who have gone from very little to a lot, or sometimes back and forward a few times, because it happens. Life is just this big circle. But it's for us to share, to be vulnerable, to be real, to be authentic, because we take the masks off. This is a place, this is a safe place. This is who we are, and we're not perfect, and we embrace that. And we have had challenges, and mental health is a big topic for me, I feel, for you, and for so many people. It's just people do not talk about it. Honestly, I think there are more neurodiverse people than there are more normal people. And then again, what is normal people? They don't exist, right?
No,
I think
normality.
we are all to a degree neurodiverse, and this is how we should be considered and proud of where we come from. And another reason why I have this avenue is for people to know that there are ways for them to get better without spending years in therapy, without going on the knife through operations. Because the therapy that I practice, RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy, is a very rapid intervention. I just came, like just today, although Saturday, I've seen a client. Of course, I never disclose who my client is. But what I like to share is, let's say, the challenges we work on, so people know that this is possible. A very successful gentleman in his 70s, he has it all, but deeply inside there's still this one piece missing. And in the therapy I do is between 1.5 to 2 hours. And in those 2 hours, we went rapidly. I made him relax. We found the limiting beliefs, the program he was still running on from when he was 17, and he's 70. Imagine, this is exactly what you were saying, your therapist was telling. So guys, there is a way to get better, to find the limiting beliefs and to remove them and to reprogram your brain. I can do that, other therapists can do that, just look for that way out. And before this client came to me, he was seeing his last therapist for 6 years, every week. You know that. Sometimes there's life in therapy, but it doesn't have to be. I see my clients for 3 therapists, 3 sessions, that's it. Some of them for 1. And some of them, if it's something very complicated, it might take 6, it might take 9, but not more than that. So please know, look for avenues. If my energy resonates with you, reach out to me. If not, you'll find someone. Trust your intuition. When you meet people, you would feel, okay, this person has something that I need. She or he would know how for me to get there. So I loved what you shared, what, how I mean, there's so much meaning in jewelry, and that's why I feel so strongly about jewelry. So you already said, for you, jewelry is passion.
Yes.
Jewelry was a shield.
Yes.
So you were blocking the pain in the world because you looked successful, because it's also the show, okay, that's the image. And then what happened then? Was there a point when you realized you don't want to hide and jewelry maybe took a different level?
Yes. So once I got things worked out, and I realized that I was enough. I didn't need all of this. There was actually about a 8-second period where I didn't wear anything because I didn't need it anymore. He was longer than that, but it was like, okay. But it was just, I just love it. And it doesn't matter if it's real or not.
Yeah.
If you find a piece that you like, then get it. Like this. This is a huge, beautiful piece of quartz carved into a ring that I got in Mexico City. And it wasn't that expensive. Now, if you look at it, you'd think I'd paid thousands of dollars for it. But, I paid like $100 for it. But it means so much because it's quartz. And quartz is a very healing stone, and you can get energy from it. And if you have a piece of quartz, always put it in the sunlight for about an hour so it can charge. The sun will charge the quartz and open up its energy more. And that's kind of what I ended up doing with myself. Is just one quick thing that I learned is most people with mental health issues are the last ones to know that they have a mental health issue. And that's really hard to think about that. But once one is presented to you and you're given the tools to work on it, then it becomes you. And then, they tell you, it's up to you how well your recovery is going to be. And it's like, oh my God, it's up to me, I'm in trouble. But I started listening. Finally, I took that one little mustard seed that somebody offered me, like you, somebody offered me, and I built on it. And then the results started happening. Always wait for the miracle to happen. Never give up. And that's what I learned. And then I started wearing the jewelry because I liked it. And because it made me feel good. It wasn't making me feel better, and it wasn't hiding me from anyone. It just made me feel better. And that now it's just a piece of me. It's not all of me because it's material, because all of this is great, but like I said before, it's what's in here that makes you shine. And the biggest thing that helps is just taking a minute. So another thing I do is, it doesn't matter what religion or where you're from or whatever, just pick a little prayer or even just a little saying, like starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. Well, when my mind is going and the pain has come up, the rape has come up and it's all hitting me, and I'm, yesterday, I take a second and just go, I say a little prayer. God, take this away from me. Or you could say, starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. How long did that take? It took 2 seconds, but guess what? For 2 seconds, I'm not thinking of that stuff anymore. All that stuff is gone, and it gives me relief. So that helps me shine too. And it doesn't matter what the saying is, anything, just like you can say, okay, I'm not going to think about this for a second.
Break the pattern.
Yeah.
Break the
and
pattern.
You can break it. And then you create that new pattern and go, oh, I can actually stop thinking about it for a minute. But, I learned that over time, and it's really, really brightened my life, and it helped me become a different kind of diamond.
So before we say goodbye, I have one more question, maybe a little bit more, but what's that beautiful piece of jewelry on your neck?
I love crystals. Yeah. So this is it's a solid quartz crystal, and it's
with black diamonds?
100% clarity, and it's got a 5-point. And then here is the line of diamonds, and this is black marcasite. And marcasite, it's a great little stone. It's a good filler. So you can take something.
Yeah, it's very shiny. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so you can. I've actually designed a little bit of a jewelry in my time. And
I could totally see you as a jewelry designer. You're so creative. You're so elegant. From the shoes to your jacket to the jewelry. And the jewelry now, as you said, you don't need it to make you look someone else or more successful or more shielded, but it's just a way of expressing yourself because you're so creative. You appreciate beauty, you appreciate quality, you appreciate craftsmanship. So 2 questions before we go.
Sure.
Have you always been spiritual? And if not, what made you go there? And then I would like you to show us a few of your favorite travel pieces. Okay. Because of course we're here in London and do you live in Dallas now?
Dallas,
exactly.
Texas.
So I can imagine, next time when I'm in Dallas, I would love to see your full collection, but if you could show us your favorite pieces that you took traveling.
Okay, on the spirituality part, being in Texas, you are pounded in the head with a Bible. It's Christianity, and you're going to burn in a lake of hell and fire and all that kind of stuff, so it really scares you. But I never really tuned into that stuff because I was also adopted, so I wasn't really down with that. But there was always something missing. I knew there was something else out there, God of some particular sort. And then for me, I got into the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I discovered my spirituality there. And you can discover it in many different ways, but for me, that's where it was. And they told me that I could have my own God. What does God mean to me? And they had me write a list. What is your God? What do you want him to be? I'm like, well, friendly and nice and have my back and not demeaning and not punishing. And then I had to believe that. I had to accept the list that I wrote. And then one day it opened up. I said a little prayer to my higher power. I didn't use God for a long time. I was like, higher power, help me feel better and help keep me sober today and help keep me going down the path that I'm on. And then the world of spirituality woke up in me. And then for the first time I saw, everybody sees the trees and the sky and the flowers. But sometimes we're so busy, you don't see them. And that's spirituality to me. If you stop and smell the roses, stop and walk on the grass, look at the sky, how blue it really is, and the miracle of that. And a tree. The tree's been there a lot longer than we have. So that's also how I discovered my belief in God. And he's a spiritual God. And when you see all the beauty that was created, that's how I connected with it. And then I've also, I've had the pleasure of traveling the world and meeting all kinds of spiritual leaders. And that's what they tell me, that God and the all-powerful being is in nature. And it's also inside you. And you don't have to go to a building to get it. You don't have to go to a church, a synagogue, and I'm good with all of that. But you can sit in the middle of your backyard and look at your tree, and there's your church. And the more I built on that, the more spiritual I became, and it's so freeing to open your mind and be accepting. So accepting something different is very spiritual too.
Beautiful. I love that. I love everything you said. I could sign my name under everything you said because I felt it, and you're speaking from your heart, and from and obviously all this truth and wisdom and love has emerged after the pain, right?
Yes.
And that's why we are grateful to the pain, because without it we wouldn't be who we are today.
Right, that's a big thing, being grateful for the pain. Because I hated it for a long time. I blamed it. My whole life was based on that.
Take it away, remove it.
Yeah, I likened it to, have you ever pulled a thorn out of your finger? You got a big thorn and you pull it out, but there's still that space there. Well, pain is the thorn that I pull out. This has to heal. Just like when you pull out a thorn, you've got that little hole right there, and you got to heal that up. And don't get in a hurry. That was my other problem. Oh, I was in a hurry. I got to be fixed now.
Oh, me too.
But it's a lifelong thing, and you just feel better. Now, as of things that help me, I got this in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and it's when I need a little extra help. It's my 4 crosses. Of course, I get a lot of times, well, what kind of Christian are you? I'm not a Christian. Look how pretty they are, okay? That's what makes them so special. Yes, they do have symbology to them, but it just also makes you feel good when you're wearing it. Yeah. It makes noise, and it can take you out of yourself. That's another thing that if Eckhart Tolle wrote a book called The Power of Now, and he says if you're in a scared spot, shake something, and that brings you to this moment. Because you're shaking it now. So this is really great. I love that one.
Shaking 4 big crosses, it's something it definitely brings you to now. Yes. Show us more.
Yeah, or even your car keys. Shake something. And then I'll show you one of my little tricks that I do. But these are two of my other favorite pieces. So I bought this one first, and it's about 3 carats of rounds. And so I wore it for a long time, and I'll take this one off too. But it's a nice big statement piece, okay? Well, then I found this one, and it's a combination of rounds and baguettes and things like that. And I was gonna wear it separately. Well, one day I thought, why wear them separately when you can put them together?
It gets better and better.
So this is a statement piece, and this is a statement piece, but now it's a real statement piece. So if you like to stack, you can do that. You can do it with any ring you have that, is relatively flat aside, so it looks like a lot of people think it's one ring. And it's like, nah, it's 2 separate ones.
And now we intensified it further.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you talk about catching light.
Yeah.
This will do it. And actually, I did the same thing with this one. Has a lot of meaning to me so this is the first one that I ever received, that I ever bought myself, and it was my engagement ring. So it makes a pretty big impact on its on. It's a firecracker setting, it's what they call it. And it's mixed with princesses, rounds, and baguettes.
Beautiful.
But then that was the engagement ring, and then in the state of Texas, it was against the law to get married. Gay people could not get married. So we had a spiritual ceremony, so I bought a separate ring for that were all rounds. But then I thought, well,
great reason to get more bling.
Let's put it together. And then we finally were able to get legally married, so I marked that with this one. And then I put them all together, and you've got a really big statement piece that means a lot.
That means a lot.
So if you've got 3 rings laying around and they all have special meaning to them, but you only wear them ever so often because you put them together.
Yeah.
Put them together, and they make a really good team.
Jewelry is made to be worn.
Yes. I have a lot of friends, and they're like, I have these beautiful pieces, but I never wear them. And I'm just like,
why do you have them?
Why? So,
and then we have this fabulous piece.
That's actually a little amethyst.
Wow.
It's very
and it's like
light.
a heart. Look.
Yeah, my husband got me that
Wow.
just now, actually. And we were in Mexico City together, but it's got a secret.
Oh, tell us.
So there's the amethyst in its raw form, but then you can, it's double-sided. And you have a smooth piece of jasper.
Wow.
With a kind of a brownish purple hue to it. So you can wear it either way. I love getting 2 for 1.
Me too.
It's really,
and
really
that's
good.
a big thing in America, right?
Yeah, it is. And then this is John Hardy. And it's black diamonds, white diamonds, and it's got gold and sterling silver. And it goes pretty well with these. So I wear it at the same time because they're all the same collector. They're all the same designer. So I wear those 2. And then this was my very first piece of John Hardy that I ever got. And
gorgeous.
John Hardy, he's a designer, and he gets most of his pieces are made in Thailand by hand. And to my knowledge, he's the first one that came up with this weaving technique. So he's very well known for this.
And it's so smooth.
Yeah. And when I looked at it, I'm like, how does he do that? Well, he has a video of his team, and they somehow braid it together. So.
And there's the watch I see. And actually, I think you were also wearing, you are wearing a very beautiful diamond watch.
Well, actually, these are all Swarovski crystals.
Oh.
And Australian crystals put together.
Beautiful.
And then
to me, they look totally diamond.
Well, don't tell anybody if they don't ask.
No.
So.
And you keep your secret.
And then I love Bulova.
Oh.
They're beautiful.
I've never seen this. Look how special this watch is. I love big pieces.
Statement me too. And then the other thing is, whatever country you're in, look around for them. But also, when you're traveling, I'm a huge shopper. Sometimes my friends will laugh at me. They're all seeing the pyramids, and I'm in a mall. And I'm like, you know what? I saw the pyramids, but I want to see what they've got. And I look in all the little shops, like if they have the row of shops, and I look through everything. But there's here you have Harrods, in Harvey Nicks, and in Dallas we have Neiman Marcus and all those places, but there's a place in Mexico City called Liverpool. So when they first asked me, would you like to go to Liverpool? And I'm like, you're gonna take me to London right now? We just landed. They're like, no, it's a store, it's a big store, and it's beautiful, they have everything. It's like Harrods, because they have food on the bottom, and we don't have that in stores in America. So, but I went to their watch shop, and I found this watch in Mexico City. It was actually less expensive there than it was in America.
Wow, how cool.
So you never know, and even sometimes, I haven't had time to really go through London yet, but you'll find big statement pieces, and they're not as much. And a statement piece can be just sterling silver.
I love this piece.
I love it. I love
this
dome
piece.
shapes, and it's very intricate. And I found it a little market in Mexico.
Wow, so much meaning in these jewels.
Yes.
We'll have to say goodbye. And what would be your goodbye message, Alan? I don't know, maybe to people, let's address it to people who are struggling with some mental issues and maybe they feel they're in a darker place. What would be your one piece of advice or a few words?
First, own your mental illness. Own it and accept it. And then learn the steps of how to fix it, how to make it better, how to make yourself better, and follow instructions, what your doctor says. If they say you find your medication and they say take it every day, do as directed. And then go to your window, because your drapes and your blinds have probably been closed for months, and open them up. Look into the sunlight, look outside at nature, and look at yourself. Go to a mirror and say, you are worth it. I love myself. And then write that on a piece of paper. I love you, Alan. Put it on your mirror and look at it every morning when you wake up, and that's proof that you love yourself, because you can do it. I did, she did. You're not alone. That's the biggest thing too. We are not alone in this fight.
No, we are together in this, and collectively we can heal it, especially looking for help, looking for friendship. Don't be alone in this. Don't be alone.
No, don't, because your illness is telling you need to be alone. It's telling you. But listen to that one tiny little voice in the back going, oh, I don't want to be alone anymore.
Yeah, or maybe here.
Yeah, there,
or maybe
for
here.
sure.
It will come from there. It's possible you will get out of there. We have done it. You can do it.
Yes.
Reach out for help and just have faith.
Have faith and go out and shine.
Go out and shine your diamond.
Shine, yes, just like that, and do it for real. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a real pleasure.